Good evening and welcome to another edition of the reading of the Divine Comedy by Dante Alighieri. Now, in chapter 5, Dante enters the second circle of hell and he is experiencing there the punishments of mythological creatures. Centaurs like Chiron, the ferryman from Greek mythology that carried souls across the river Styx into the underworlds, Charon. Achilles, a demigod and hero from Greek mythology, is in here. As well as some of the gods and goddesses. It even goes into Egypt a little bit with Cleopatra being in hell in the second circle. Well, now Dante is going into the third circle in chapter 6. And again, you see a couple of more mythological characters, but I think this chapter is going to be a little different from chapter 5. So let's read on and see what we have here. Chapter 6 of the Inferno, the third circle. The gluttonous, Cerberus, the eternal rain, Chiaco, Florence. At the return of consciousness that closed before the pity of those two relations, which utterly with sadness had confused me, new torments I behold, and new tormented around me, whichsoever way I move, and whichsoever way I turn and gaze. In the third circle am I of the rain, eternal, maledict, and cold and heavy. Its law and quality are never new. Huge hail and water sunburst hued, and snow athwart the tenebrous air pour down amain. Noisome the earth is that receiveth this. Cerberus, the monster cruel and uncouth, with his 3 gullets like a dog, is barking over the people that are there submerged. Red eyes he has, an unctuous beard, and black, and belly large, and armed with claws. His hands he rends the spirits, flays and quarters them. How the rain maketh them like unto dogs. One side they make a shelter, for the other oft turn themselves the wretched reprobates. When Cerberus perceived us, the great worm, his mouths he opened, he displayed his tusks, not a limb had he that was motionless. And my conductor, with his spans extended, took of the earth, and with his fist well filled, he threw it into those rapacious gullets. Such as that dog is, who by barking craves, and quiet grows soon, as his food he gnaws, for to devour it he but thinks and struggles. The like became those muzzles, filth begrimed, of Cerberus the demon, who so thunders over the souls that they would fain be deaf. We passed across the shadows which subdues the heavy rainstorm, and we placed our feet upon their vanity that person seems. They all were lying prone upon the earth, excepting one who sat upright as soon as he beheld us passing on before him. O thou that art conducted through this hell, he said to me, recall me if thou canst. Thyself wast made before I was unmade. And I to him, The anguish which thou hast perhaps doth draw thee out of my remembrance, so that it seems not I have ever seen thee. But tell me who thou art, that in so doleful a place art put, and in such punishment, if some are greater, none is so displeasing. And he to me, Thy city which is full of envy, so that now the sack runs over, held me within it in the life serene. You citizens were wont to call me Chiaco. For the pernicious sin of gluttony, I, as thou seest, am battered by this rain. And I, sad soul, am not the only one, for all these suffer the like penalty, for the like sin, and word no more spake he. I answered him, Chiaco, the wretchedness weighs on me, so that it to weep invites me. But tell me, if thou knowest, to what shall come. The citizens of the divided city, if any there be just, and the occasion tell me why so much discord has assailed it. And he to me, they after long contention will come to bloodshed, and the rustic party will drive the other out with much offence. Then afterwards beholds it this one fall within 3 suns, and rise again the other by force of him who now is on the coast. How will it hold its forehead a long while, keeping the other under heavy burdens, however it weeps thereat and is indignant? They just are too, and are not understood there. Envy and arrogance and avarice are the 3 sparks that have all hearts enkindled. Here ended he his tearful utterance, and I to him, I wish thee still to teach me, and make a gift to me of further speech. Farinata, Antagio, once so worthy, Jacopo Rusticucci, Arago, and Mosca, and others who on good deeds set their thoughts, say where they are, and cause that I may know them, for great desire constraineth me to learn if heaven doth sweeten them, or hell in venom. And he, they are among the blacker souls, a different sin downweighs them to the bottom. If thou so far descendest, thou can see them. But when thou art again in the sweet world, I pray thee to mind of others bringing me. No more I tell thee, and no more I answer. Then his straightforward eyes he turned askance, eyed me a little, and then bowed his head. He fell therewith prone like the other blind. And the guide said to me, He wakes no more this side the sound of the angelic trumpet, when shall approach the hostile potentate. Each one shall find again his dismal tune, shall reassume his flesh and his own figure, shall hear what through eternity re-echoes. So we passed onward o'er the filthy mixture of shadows and of rain, with footsteps slow, touching a little on the future life. Wherefore I said, Master, these torments here, will they increase after the mighty sentence, or lesser be, or will they be as burning? And he to me, Return unto thy science, which wills that as the thing more perfect is, the more it feels of pleasure and pain. Albeit that this people maledict to true perfection never can attain, hereafter more than now they look to be. Round in a circle by the road we went, speaking much more, which I do not repeat, we came unto the point where the descent is. There we found Plutus, the great enemy. So the mythological figure that you see in chapter 6 is Cerberus, and as we all know from Greek mythology, Cerberus was a three-headed hound, that guarded the gates of Hades, and basically when you entered the underworld you had to pass between his legs and under his belly. Cerberus was on constant watch to stop people who did not belong there from getting in. This is also seen, on a side note, this is also seen in Greek mythology when Hermes, the messenger god, goes to the underworld. It's also seen when Hercules is challenged and by Hera. He goes to the underworld to complete a challenge. He has to pass through Cerberus. Also, the punishment must fit the crime is, I think, a big theme for chapter 6 in this book. As you see, the sin of gluttony is punished one way. But when Dante asked this poor soul about 2 other figures that he was curious about, he said that their souls were the blackest, and that they were in a darker pit of hell, and that if it descended down far enough, he could see them. This goes along with some Catholic dogma and some other Christian mythology and Christian belief as well. I use mythology loosely for all you Christians out there. I'm a Christian too, to a certain extent, but that's my own personal business. Not trying to step on anybody's toes, but even the scholars that study this refer to it as a form of mythology. So please take no offense. Next week we will be reading chapter 7. Hopefully it will enlighten us a little more as to who Plutus, the great enemy, is. I'm thinking it stems from Roman mythology and the god Pluto, which would be the Roman form of Hades, god of the underworld. Christians believe that to be hell, and of course its ruler to be Satan, Lucifer, Beelzebub, however you want to pronounce his name or what name you want to give him. And, well, who knows what radical Islam thinks, or much less cares. But if you like what I've done here tonight with the reading of this book so far, then like and subscribe to this YouTube channel. You can find me on Facebook. Just do a search for Poe Hunter. That's Poehunter. Send me a friend request. I'll accept it. You can even add me on Messenger. We can discuss your points of view and what you take away from this book, as well as what I do too. And you can also discuss with other people that happen to watch this YouTube channel or be familiar with this particular literary work. Until next time, stay safe out there. Remember to social distance and wear your mask in public. Always wash your hands and use hand sanitizer. And continue to read on. Have a good evening.